So in the studio with us is an ICT guru. His name is David Ogunshola. You're welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
All right, now, before I talk about your profile a bit, this seems to be the way ICT or IT personnel will usually appear. Is it like a code? Is it like a code that you guys generally want to appear like, you know, just very free? You have your hooded top or something.
Not really. I think it's just default setting. You just pick what's available, and I mean, left to me, I'll probably just have a uniform. My wife has not allowed me to because I just want to save time spent in choosing what to wear. So I just check what's easy, what's functional, what allows me to. The most important thing is I want my mind to just be free to be able to think and process. I mean, so sometimes you can't do that under very complicated dresses. You're wearing a tie, you're wearing a jacket. You're already distracted with so much. You just want to be able to focus on what you're trying to
just throw something on and go your way.
You get it. So really, I mean, it's just that we don't spend time thinking about what to wear.
Is that so? Hey, Ijeoma, please, you should help me ask Mr. Ogunshola this next question. Okay, if you watch ICT gurus, they seem to have a pattern of their hairstyle changing too. Okay. Yes, they grow from normal, like, okay, what I have on my head now.
So this is normal.
From usual, let me say usual, and then the thing starts growing, they grows into afro.
Yeah.
At the same time, it now grows into dreads. Okay, and so should we expect Mr. David to grow dreads?
Yeah, your pattern observation is correct. Actually.
Okay.
Just that I'm not your regular IT guy. I'm not an IT. I'm a lot of things. Okay. So I can't be.
You can't fit into that box.
I can't fit into that box. I've gone for meetings. I've gone for meetings of tech CEOs where I'm the only person looking normal.
Okay.
Everybody's just looking like, so I'm like, okay, everybody's either carrying reds or have brown hair, or the hair is multicolored, or the trouser is. And I mean, I initially had to feel odd. I'm like, okay, do I have to look like these guys? But I realized, okay, that's what's one box. I live in many boxes. I live in many worlds. So I need to be functional for each one of the worlds that I live in. So I just try to be myself.
Okay, one more question. They say that once the hair pattern is changing, it means that more money is coming in.
Many times.
Is it true?
Many times.
Okay.
Yes, because it takes a lot to maintain the more complicated hair. So sometimes it's when these guys are beginning to have a little more extra money. Like, okay, I think I can spend some more money on my hair. So you can almost tell the bank account of a tech guy by the look of his hair.
Oh.
Almost, yeah.
By the type of hair he wears. Okay. Oh, wow. But so now we will say that you are just off the radar. Nobody can really predict how much money.
I never blew like that.
Okay. All right. So Mr. David is a co-founder of many. He is founded and is also a co-founder of many thriving businesses, including DevShoop, a software development company, and another one is STEM Academy Nigeria, a tech coding and startup school for children. He's also the co-founder of Brainiac Schools. He's the author of Early Coding for Kids, Africa's first coding curriculum, and textbook for primary and secondary schools, which is currently in use by children in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, USA, and Spain. He's a mentor of young people who are in ICT, who have chosen the ICT career, and other professionals, and he guides them in the journey of discovering purpose, living a life of maximum impact, and achieving balanced success. I think that is very rich, and it's in line with our bent here, which is to inspire the world around us. So thank you for being such an inspiration.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Ijeoma wants to fire the first salvo. Please permit me to do. Okay.
I like to think that you started pretty early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, how come you started early? Were there things that made you, fall in line? Like you had privileges other people did not have. Was it an information thing? What
Because
actually
the
made
reason
you-
we're asking is that people are watching. We
Yeah.
want them to get to know you as a person and not just as a product or as a
Okay.
company.
Okay.
Because we want to inspire them that, look, if you are everything you
They
are,
too
if you're
can.
yeah, anybody else can. Yes.
Okay, so I like to see myself more as a business person than even as an IT person.
Okay.
I'm more of a business person. I just use my IT as my launch pad in business and my edge in business.
Okay.
So, I mean, when you are a carpenter, everything looks like a nail. I mean, you see everything like a nail and you
Get
have a
it?
hammer. So, my tool is technology. So, when I look at business, I see problems with the eye of technology. And, but the business for me, I started my first business as a 100-level student in the university. So I went going to campus and I just figured, look, I need to just be independent early.
Yeah.
I told myself I want to be self-sufficient by year 3 in the university. By year 3, I shouldn't need to
I
call
think
my
there's something
parents.
about year 3. The guest we had yesterday said something about registering his company by year 3 in the university.
I think there's this clarity that comes with that stage.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, but for me, it was so, year 1, I was just like, okay, whatever makes money. So I was just bungling ideas here. I was selling magazines on campus, moved from selling magazines to selling flash drives on campus and a lot of things I was just doing. And, sometimes, I think still as a 100-level student, I was selling flash drives to my classmates. I mean, it was still new. Then we're transitioning from floppy disks
floppy
to
disks,
flash drives.
yeah.
I was studying computer science, so that was my space. And I was schooling in a place where I was still using floppy disks at this time. So I began to sell to my lecturers, to my friends and everybody. And I started going up the ladder, selling to management. So I got into the boss's office one day and I just go in there, do a pitch. I'm like, do you know that one flash drive is equivalent to 600 floppy disks? So you can replace this entire stack of floppy disks with 1 gigabyte of flash drive. So the boss's office was like, okay, we're going to buy one of these, but we need a receipt. I'm like, oh, okay, receipt. There's something called receipt. Because all along, I'm just selling and collecting money. I've never thought about receipt. So I went, okay, I'll be back tomorrow with a receipt. So I went to a business center, sit down to do a receipt. Oh, you have to have a name for a receipt. So it's just like one step after the other.
Just organically.
And then I just kept going forward. Then there are opportunities that I had. For example, every holiday as a university student, my dad made sure that I was doing something in maybe a job or something. I never had a holiday where I was just sitting at home. So come back from holiday, you have, how long is your holiday? 1 month. Okay, that guy repairs computers. Go stay with him for 1
Now you
month.
see parenting.
Okay, I guess.
So I had those placements. Year 2, after year 2, my school gave us a 3-month break, so I went to work in a company in Lagos.
Were you paid to do some of these,
Initially,
jobs?
I wasn't.
Okay.
The first thing I was just like...
So you volunteered, you're just like an intern?
But I think the first one, I even paid to even go there.
Whoa.
To even come and sit down and watch them do what they do and join them, my dad had to pay some money.
Okay.
So yes, those things just had come, but at some point, I started getting to structured places where, so in some cases they paid me, in some cases I paid, and it was just not structured. But see, those things helped me see the industry early, even as a student. For example, I was doing an internship in a company in Lagos, and then networking was the big buzzword. Everybody wanted to be a networker and all of that. So we're in this office building a Wi-Fi network on a 5-story building, drilling walls and drilling floors, and we drilled for like 2 weeks. And then at the end of the whole configuration, this guy came in to configure the routers and sat down there writing some code. And after like 2-3 days, everything was working. And I saw the check they gave this guy. His 3 days check, one person could pay all of us that drilled 3 months salary for all of us. Was not up towards the end. I said, what did that guy do?
And that was the motivation.
He was writing code. I said, okay, when I go to school, networking, park one side, I'm writing code. So I focused.
So that was your opening to coding.
That was my aha moment. I'm like, okay, I think coding is the future. I'm not going to do labor. I'm not going to do manual work. So I ditch tools. I don't work with tools. I don't work with hardware. I don't fix laptops. I don't do anything. So I just started studying what can equip me to do what this guy did. And I realized it's more of a mind thing. I went back to school. To be honest, maybe I shouldn't say this until I stopped attending some classes because some classes on the curriculum were not relevant to where I was going. I'm like, okay, you know what? I can pass statistics without going to class. So that time of statistics, let me be studying how to code. Let me be learning. So I just channeled my energies.
Does that explain why we've had a lot of these IT guys like Zuckerberg, and the rest of them, why they had to drop out of school? Is there something fundamentally wrong with the rigidity of curriculum in schools?
To some extent. I mean, I didn't have the mind to drop out of school, but I could at least decide that, okay, you know what, some of these classes they're not taking me anywhere. Help anybody. Kind of. The curriculum is so outdated that in that space, once you're able to find a path, I mean, most of the ideas I was finding as a student were not even in computer books, they were in management books, they were in business books.
Yeah.
And I figured, our curriculum doesn't even allow us to exposure to those kind of resources. You have to go out of your way to even get that level of exposure.
Okay.
So if you want to combine that with, so you're going to find that some of the guys who are good in IT either had third-class degrees, either had, I mean, I was privileged to still be able to maintain good grades because I was in a space where I could thrive. Numbers and mathematics are my turf. So I could easily catch up even without going to class. But you realize that some of the best guys in my own class were bungling courses, had extra years, but when they leave school, they're able to fit into the space and they're able to be creative.
Because they were fixated by the expected norms, of the school, instead of the school expanding on what the school should probably expose them to. So it was like, okay, the rigidity of the system did not actually help them to express themselves the best way possible.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, so would you say that affected your venture into writing books in coding for children and helping them to start, very early?
That's a totally different trajectory. I never saw myself helping children to code. That was not a goal I set out and said, okay, you know what, after school I'm going to go into this. My own drive was just, anywhere I go, the first thing I see are problems. And I just see opportunities and problems. I mean, I have a folder on my laptop. It's a folder of business ideas. I have more business ideas than a lifetime can execute because I just see, and I'm like, okay, this is a problem. Somebody can actually do this and make money out of it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm limited by how many I can execute. So I just keep writing them down. Maybe one day, if there was a place where they sold ideas, I could be a millionaire now for selling ideas. But I just pick things. So I was just in my space of building tech solutions, one after the other, and I was running a software company. While I was a corper, I registered my company, a software company. I said, okay, once I'm done with service, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to build and get this done. But one day I was online and I found an information somewhere. In 2017, 6 countries had legislated that computer programming should be taught from elementary school. Now that was groundbreaking for me. I'm like, oh, wait. I learned to code as a university student. These countries are legislative. Now it's not optional, it is legislation, meaning basic literacy, reading, writing, coding from primary school.
Wow.
How are we going to compete with these children? By this time, my wife and I had started a school, Brainy High School. So we're also running a school. I'm figuring, okay, hold on. We're running a school and we're raising children to compete globally. These kids around the world are learning in primary 2, what these ones will learn in 200 level or 300 level. Something is not balanced somewhere. So I just dived deep into that information, began to find and follow the trail, and I realized that, okay, there are actually new technologies that have made it possible to simplify complex concepts for children to understand. And I just began to learn.
It's getting really scary for some for some professions. For example, I saw a software. This was from China, of all places, and they were teaching Yoruba, and they were singing Yoruba songs, and I really was scared. I'm like, is this all taking jobs away from from teachers, for example? All right, now let's tie that to what the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) said about information and communication technology, ICT. The last statistics in 2022 was that 18.44% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, the contribution was, from the ICT. Okay, so are we saying that it's either you become relevant now and increase, your options for income, or you lose out at different levels of, the sectors of the economy?
Okay, so you see what IT is doing is, like I tell people, IT is not an industry. IT is just an enabler of industries. For IT to be relevant, IT must be connected to an existing industry.
Okay.
For example, you have health, you bring technology, and combined you have health tech. There was already finance.
Yeah.
IT simply came to finance to create fintech.
Fintech, yeah.
There's education. IT comes to create edtech. Alone, technologies as standalone is useless. It has to combine with something real. So agriculture, transportation. So every sector is going to be changed and transformed by technology. It's just a matter of time. And so understand that what you don't need to. There are two sides you could take it from. You could be a technology expert and say, okay, as a tech expert, I'm just going to find my niche. Which of the sectors do I want to focus on? Biotech, health tech, fintech, or whatever, and create my space there. Or as an industry specialist, understand that technology is coming to your space. You can't run away from it. Have you seen AI-generated photographs? Photography is going to be hit very soon. So all of those spaces, people aren't doing fashion shows where you are having models that are not human beings, all AI-generated. So modeling, fashion, photography, all of that, technology is coming to those spaces. Yeah. So it's just to begin to ask yourself, before this thing rocks my industry, how do I position myself? You don't have to transition out of medicine. Medicine is going nowhere. Education is going nowhere. Agriculture is going nowhere. But they are going to get transformed by technology. So experts in those fields need to be ahead of their game before it gets hit. Let me position myself for when it comes, so I can be relevant to combine my own industry with whatever technology is coming. And when it comes, I'm not going to be a novice or I'm not going to be kicked out by this. I'm still going to be relevant when it comes.
Okay, there are a lot of young people listening to you right now, and some of them are just roaming the streets, right? And a lot of these people, they came out from school with very low grades. Do you understand? Okay. Now, how do you do recruitment? You work with young people, right?
Yep.
Do you assess them, based on their certifications, or you look at what they really can offer? How do you do that?
Interestingly, so I run a team and I have a lot of guys on my team.
Yeah, I know that.
Very smart people.
Yeah.
To be honest, for most of them on my team, I've never seen their CVs.
Oh.
So are you saying that it doesn't matter what fields you're from or what qualifications you have or not?
So from the software engineers I have, one of them studied human anatomy, one of them studied economics. These are software engineers who work for me.
Yeah.
They're software engineers now.
Right now. I mean, these are the guys who do core engineering, coding jobs. They studied nothing close. And some of the best guys on my team, some very smart guys that I've worked with, have no degrees.
No
degrees,
No degrees.
Very smart.
So
guys.
what does that say? What does that suggest to anybody watching you now who probably feels confused about professional, prospect choices? And does this have an answer for?
Technology is no respecter of your degree, of your certificate. All it needs is your mind. It's a creative space.
What should make me feel like, okay, I can do it?
Your ability to think.
Okay.
Just your ability. See, when I hear people say that we're in the information age, I know that those people are way outdated. The world has been evolving. We used to be in the information age. That was a time when you succeeded or your income or success was dependent on how much knowledge you had.
Yeah.
Our parents were raised in the information age. And so when you have an OND, you earn higher than a secondary school person. You had a degree, you earn more, you had a master's. So that was when the school craze was, and they are raising us thinking we're in that age. So they're like, go to school. This child has not even finished university, already buying master's form. They are you just want to put, because you think that after school it is success. They didn't realize that the world transitioned slowly out of the information age to what I'll call the conceptual age, where your ability to thrive depends on your ability to create something out of nothing. Check today, who are those succeeding? Those who work in the abstract space, comedians, content creators, fashion people, who can sit down out of nothing and create something.
That's true.
If your expectation of a job is for someone to give you a chair give you file, and tell you what to do, there are no jobs anymore. Nobody's telling anybody what to do.
In fact, let's talk about jobs. Let's talk about jobs. Let's talk about jobs. You continue. Let's talk about jobs that are being threatened by the advent of ICT, and it's very serious. Assembly line and factory workers, bus drivers, taxi drivers, and truck drivers. Because now you have self-driving cars, and they're in Africa is a bit behind, but they are coming. They are coming. Phone operators, telemarketers, and receptionists. So you have voice recognition and speech synthesis become more advanced. Sometimes you listen to some synthesized voices, and you will think it is a human being talking to you. Cashiers in banks, bank tellers and clerks, parking, stockroom, and warehouse moving. There is a port in China that is manned by computer. Everything from containers to the vehicles, moving them around. everything. You just have a few people operating them from the computers somewhere.
Yeah.
This will have taken hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, of people
Yeah.
to do that. All right.
You're even going very far. You know, they've always told us AI is coming, AI will take our jobs. And people have always thought that AI is going to come with this massive gadget technology. And because they feel, okay, Nigeria is not there yet, so it's still very far ahead. Before the time comes, we will adjust. AI is not coming. AI has come since.
It's come.
ChatGPT has replaced secretaries.
Whoa, yes. Yeah, ChatGPT.
I don't need the secretary anymore to write letters.
You remember what happened to what Elon Musk's assistant, one of his assistants said, a lady had asked for an increment. I want you to put me in a director or some executive position, and she had wanted a raise. So what Elon did was to ask her to go on some vacation in Hawaii or something, somewhere, some very nice place. And then when she came back, she was sacked.
Because he realized he didn't need her.
Because the guy realized that he could do without her.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
There's this woman. Her daughter left secondary school. Okay, graduated from secondary school. And she said she was going to work for 4 years before she goes to the university.
Okay.
In fact, she said, depending on the results she gets in these 4 years, that she might not likely go to university.
Okay.
Right now, that girl is making money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Now, what do you have to say to young people? Where is the relevance of even going to school in the first place?
Okay.
So can someone actually just survive by having your skill and you're good?
Okay. Yes.
That's a very fantastic one.
You can survive by having skills.
So you actually advise that?
No. Not
Why?
now. Yes, I'm gonna answer why. That even the guys on my team, now I'm working with all the guys on my team who don't have degrees, to in a way try and get a form of degree. I tell them it doesn't matter in what field.
Okay.
You already know what you are doing. This has nothing to do with your job.
Okay.
This is why. Because the human society has not caught up with that point yet.
Mm-hmm.
Degrees still open doors. What you do in the room may not have anything to do with your degree.
Yeah.
But the degree is going to open the door.
Okay.
So there are rooms you have the skill to function in the room,
Is a
but you don't have the
conversation
certificate
starter.
to pass beyond the door.
Okay.
So, if you ask me, that's probably the only thing I think is the value of a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
That's the respect. Okay, it's not going to change the sense you are saying.
That's
Yeah,
But you want to make them listen to you. You know, he's a doctor, he has a PhD, so they believe this what you are saying.
I also think there is a continuum that comes from regular education in addition to ICT and exposure to ICT. Okay, like you mentioned, a PhD, it is actually a doctor of thinking.
Okay.
And I think that there's a particular part of education, regular education, that opens your mind to broad thinking, that really provides a basic foundation for ICT. Because sometimes you discover that it's not just about being intelligent, there's also how humane you are.
Yeah.
And there's an exposure to training. I'm just trying to add to what you're saying.
You see, you're talking about education. Education is still ground zero. And I say this, I'm in education. That's why I tell people I'm the software guy who has become a teacher. I spend more energy in teaching and educating than even in building software right now, because I've seen that as a future. And this is the problem. Our education system was created for 3 eras ago. The eras have changed over time and we've not caught up with it.
About 100 years ago, seriously.
Because you see, we have a lot of problems in society that are not problems. For example, unemployment is not a disease, it's a symptom.
It's a symptom.
You don't treat symptoms. When you have malaria, you feel headache.
Yeah.
You don't treat headache. If you keep taking Panadol, the headache will go down and come back. Until you treat malaria, headache does not go. Unemployment is not a disease, it's a symptom. The real problem is education. If you don't treat the real disease, government has been trying to solve unemployment. We will never solve unemployment. It is not government's job to solve unemployment. You can't create jobs for people. People need to be able to create jobs by themselves, and it's an education thing. You see the problem? Our educational system, not just Nigeria, Africa, is a system that promotes memorization and remembering over thinking and creativity. Once I can remember what you said and give back to you, I have a first class.
And because I need to pass the exam, right?
They just cram
And because of
garbage
that,
in, garbage
it has
out.
created other problems. Exams are practical practice is simply a symptom of that disease that was created by an overemphasis on grades
and certificates.
because I just want to pass. I want to pass, so I'm going to do everything
And it's
to
on the
pass.
rise.
And you find people leaving schools and they have never used their minds. They cannot think. Which is why I came back and said it's a function of your mind, basically. They say every problem is an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Tell me one continent that has more problems than Africa. Shouldn't that mean that Africa is the continent with the biggest opportunity?
The biggest
Yeah.
opportunity.
But you see, it shows in many ways workplace unproductivity. Can you explain to me why we have 3 functional refineries? None of them works, yet they have engineers employed. Can you explain to me why Ivory Coast is the world's largest exporter of cocoa, yet does not come top 10 in the world's exporter of chocolate? Because we just are specialized in taking what God has given us. We don't apply our minds to it. We just export it and buy back in. Go and explain to me why you can go to Cameroon and find cotton farms and people just harvest cotton from the farm to containers and export it straight, and we import fabric.
And then we
Go to Central African Republic. We're exporting timber, importing furniture. We just have not been trained to use our mind, and it's an education problem, which is why I focus on the education space. We also want to raise people who can think. If you find, the books I write books called Early Coding for Kids, and its subtitle is Computer Programming and Analytical Thinking for Children. It's not a subject in any curriculum. I'm now making an advocacy that this should become a subject in schools, in the government schools and in private schools, because it's not about grades, it's about how do we inspire creativity. And the ability to think. There's something called the global achievement gaps. 7 skills that have been identified worldwide. These are 7 skills that everybody needs to succeed in today's world. Problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, assessing information. These 7 skills, there's no subject there's no subject called collaboration. No subject called critical thinking.
These are just soft skills normally.
Skills.
Yeah.
But you see, our education system is not encouraging the development of those skills.
And that's why you have a level of, toxic relationship in places of work. Because people think it's about contention.
Exactly.
Instead of collaboration.
You don't blame them. Today, outside, I work on teams. I have team members in Oshogbo. I have team members in Port Harcourt, in Ibadan. People work on my company who don't even live in Uyo. And people are able to connect.
Some of them
together.
you probably have not met.
I've met all of them.
Okay, you met all of them because you had to meet them
yes,
at point of recruitment.
Yes.
Okay.
But you see,
but how often do you meet them, or do you have to meet them? Because you can do
some I've not seen in a year.
Exactly.
To succeed, you need to be able to work with people. What the school teaches us, work alone. Exam time, don't talk to anybody, work alone. We're teaching people the opposite. I was in this conference and they gave us a puzzle. It was facilitated by Lego, the toy company.
Okay,
and it was teaching creativity actually. And so they gave us these bricks and said, okay, everybody, make a dock out of these bricks. And we're like, make a dock out of these bricks.
Because you could actually make anything out of Legos.
Yes.
Anything.
And so we're thinking dock, and I was thinking dock, what does a dock look like? So I looked at him, dock. And as I saw his own, ideas came. And after the entire workshop, the facilitator asked a question, said, how many of you got ideas by seeing somebody else? All of us raised our hand. See,
actually, in creativity, there's something
that is called
yes. There's something that's called They call it a continuum, and another word is defamiliarization. Nobody really has an original idea. You took it from somebody and then you improved on it. Okay, we'll take a break now. This has been a very engaging discussion. We'll be speaking with an IT guru by name David Ogunshola. He's a co-founder of so many organizations. As you can see, we have just loads and loads and loads of information that we can't get enough of from him. We'll take a break now and then we'll be back shortly. We can't get enough of David Ogunshola's contributions on this topic, ICT contribution to life and economy. We can't get enough. And now, Ijeoma, before I ask the next question, or before the one you're going to ask, I want to tell you now that your job is threatened. On the list, I have journalists and reporters are some of the people that are likely to lose their jobs to ChatGPT. So here it says, many news agencies and websites are already employing the help of computer-assisted writing, e.g. ChatGPT, and information gathering software robots. If you read news stories on the internet, you have very likely read a story generated by a computer and not a human. Can you hear that? Okay, so as software becomes smarter, it's going to replace even more journalists and reporter jobs.
Yeah.
All right, so that is to warn you. Ijeoma, then you have to up your game. I'll probably get a certification.
One thing that the computers won't succeed in replacing
Yes.
is the mind.
It's the mind,
The
because
ability
everything
think.
has to
so
do.
once you don't lose your ability to think,
Yeah.
you're not going to ever be
You
replaceable.
stay relevant.
You stay
Okay.
relevant.
So as a journalist now, or as a broadcaster, how do you become relevant? How do you stay relevant in the face of the threat of ICT?
Well, like I said, it's just your ability to think, the ability to process information in a way that is still human, the ability okay, this is it. Stay curious.
Yes.
Stay growing.
Is it too late at any age?
Late? No, it's not late. I mean, there's a need I have. Or is it a need now? There's a group of people that are now, they've been on my neck. And I'm sure if some of them are watching me and they'll say that, okay, they know themselves. I teach children to code. I run a tech coding and startup school. So I teach them how to code, how to think, and how to turn those ideas into businesses. The parents of those kids are now saying, with what we are seeing our children doing,
We also need to be a
start
part of
class
it.
for us.
Yeah.
I have refused for the last 1 year. They've been, just last week, one of them came out of the bank. I said, I'm not leaving your office until you give me date and time. Tell me the fee I will pay now.
I want to start.
I want to start. We have doctors, we have people. So I think it's that ability to just stay curious. What's new? What's there? In my space, I mean, I'm in school. I'm learning. I still go to school. I'm currently running programs as we speak.
So you're not discouraging people from going to school?
No.
You're
Like
saying
I said,
that
education
you need to
is
balance
ground
yourself.
zero. It's always going to be relevant. It's going to the education just needs to transform itself to what is relevant for today. New courses are coming in. You can't be studying medical lab tech and what they're teaching you is equipment that no longer exists. Is what they're teaching you how to use. I mean, molecular biology, things that are current. So if you are in that space, you have to move on and say, okay, yes, I studied my lab science or whatever in 19 BBC born before computer.
Okay,
now,
BBC born before computer. All right.
so now, what is new? What are the new inventions? What are the new technologies? You have to go back so that you can just stay relevant. The things I am doing now, all the programming languages my company uses, did not exist when I was in school.
Okay, so they keep evolving.
They keep evolving. If I stayed the way I graduated, I'll be useless.
Okay, now let's talk a little more about you because we want to inspire everybody watching you now. I want to talk just a little more about you as we round off in a few minutes. We want to talk about you.
Okay.
What has it been like? Okay, you definitely started from the scratch.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, oh, you got some funding from the United Nations or anything.
Yeah.
We ask this question every time because we want to inspire the people watching.
Okay.
What has it been like for you? Did you feel like quitting at some point, raising funds, and, related management concerns like that?
Okay, so as a tech person who is skilled, it's been very tough trying to build a business
Okay.
instead of taking a job.
Okay.
People leave my company to take jobs, international jobs.
Because
I refer
things
many
are-
of them. In fact, many of them, the companies I want to hire them, like international companies, interview me. They say, okay, we need to talk to your former boss. And when they interview these guys and they offer them the job, and I see what they're paying these guys, I'm like, sure, say I know we'll close this company, go find work.
May you go collect jobs too.
Because these guys earn
All
in
right.
dollars. I mean, so one of the challenges has been trying to sustain a vision when it has not yet begun to produce fruit.
Okay.
It's that, to be honest, that has
So
been challenging.
what has your staying power been?
Okay, so two things. One, it's vision. See the end. I'm like, okay, this thing, this is what I'm doing is going to change the continent. It's going to change this continent. It's going to change Africa. I keep my eyes on that, knowing that this is what I'm going to do. Secondly, and this is very practical, I don't have one source of income.
Yeah.
So even if I have an idea and I'm building this idea and it's not producing yet, I actually have other things that are feeding me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a vision. Don't say, okay, I'm going to pursue this vision, and you can't pay your bills. So if you can take a job to keep something coming in, or you have another service you can provide, or another solution you can provide that is initially productive. So I've had businesses that were not long-term. I just created those businesses. I said, this can make me quick money now.
Okay.
So let me do this business by the side that is producing money while I build the vision.
All right.
So yeah, that has been.
So
but
for people who are starting,
yeah, for those who are starting,
That's very germane.
That's germane. And then for young people too, I'm going to say this for young people. When you're starting out, money is not the most important thing.
money is not the most important thing when you're starting
Yes,
out.
who you are becoming is more important. So when you have an offer from 3 companies, the question to ask is not which of them pays the highest.
Yeah.
Ask them, on each of these jobs, who am I going to become after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years?
Okay.
That's very important. So my younger brother, I advise him a lot. I tell him, don't take that job, take this job. This is a startup where you're going to have more leadership responsibility here. You will build more soft skill. Here is a big company, you just be lost inside writing code. So take this smaller job and build your competencies. That's very important.
Thank you so much. Ijeoma, do you have any last words?
Yeah.
We have like a minute.
You do a lot of things. I don't know all the things you do, but I know you do a lot of things. How are you able to strike a balance? How do you do it?
Okay, so it's the principle of multitasking.
Okay.
Now, multitasking is like juggling stones.
Okay.
So you have this, you see this would juggle like
Right.
4 or 5 stones. There's a principle to it. Number one, keep everything moving.
Yeah.
Don't hold on to anything. So if each time I have a stone in my hand, there are 3 or 4 others in the air I'm not holding.
Yeah.
Try not to be in control of everything. You cannot be. If you want to be in control of everything, you won't be able to do a lot of things.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you have to just find a way to maintain that balance.
Okay.
Some things will suffer. Don't let the same thing suffer every time. Don't let your home front suffer. Don't let your spiritual life suffer. Don't let one business suffer. Just ensure that, okay, if I miss my kids today because I'm at work, tomorrow I can shut down work to be at home. Just ensure that you spread that balance and spread the suffering so that everybody let something miss out.
All right, we
all
need
time.
to round off right now because we can't have enough from Mr. Dave Show, but we hope and believe that your day has been inspired. You know, there are answers, more answers that you probably thought existed. Okay, we want to say thank you. From ABN TV and Breakfast
you.
It's my
Delight.
pleasure to
Thank
be
you,
here. I'm very delighted to be
Mr.
here.
David Ogunshola.